Hi, I'm Ray the Butcher. Hey guys, we're going to do some biltong. This one's for all the South African customers. And what we have here is a top-side piece of beef, and we're going to cut it up into steaks, marinate it, and then air dry it in the biltong machine for 3 days. What I have here is a lovely piece of yearling topside. Just trim up any little nasty bits off the side there that we don't really want in the process. Now I tend to use 3 kilos for my mix, and that's what I'm using today. Okay, so we're just going to cut this into steaks about 1/2 inch or 1.5 centimetres thick, depending on how you like them. The thicker I cut them, the juicier the biltong will come out. So I find cutting them at about that thickness is a good thickness. Now biltong, to give you a bit of history about it, goes back to times when the South Africans were hunting, and they'd catch a venison or a deer, and they'd sit that in between their saddle on their horse, and the saddle and the rider would flatten the meat down to a thin texture, and the salt from the animal would preserve the meat and give it the flavour. It's a bit gruesome, I know, but what we're doing is a modern rendition of those flavours. Now that I've just thrown them in the bowl, this is a bit of a tedious job, but we're just going to get this out of the way now, because once it's marinated it's a bit messy. So I'm just going to pop a little hole in this and tie a piece of string in each one of these. Okay, so what we're doing there is just putting a little string about 1 inch down, just so you can hang them in the machine. And I'm doing this before I marinate them, just so it's not so messy to work with afterwards. You can use little hooks as well that are available, but I just find that this is easier for preparation, and also when I'm displaying them after they're cooked, I can hang them. If the customer wants to dry them for a bit longer, they've got the option without the hook. Now these fatty bits on the ends, you might desire to take that off, but I find that it adds a bit of texture in your chewing. When you get to eating these bits, it's a bit more chewy, and you'll find that it's a little more of an experience to eat. What we have there is the safari mix, and I'm just going to drop that in there like so, a bit of a dry mix. And that was 60 grams of safari mix. And the idea is we're going to make a bit of a mud. If your marinade's too wet, it won't stick to the meat and it'll just run away. So what I'm doing is making up this little paste. So what we have here is very important. This is the most important ingredient in the biltong making, is a vinegar. You can use white vinegars, but I like the brown, the malt one. It has a bit of flavour to it. And I've used 60 mils of the malt vinegar. So it's pretty easy to remember. There's 60 grams of the safari mix and 60 mils of the malt vinegar. So I drop that in. Here in Australia, this Cornwalls make a Worcestershire sauce that's called Pick Me Up. It's quite a popular sauce in the supermarkets, and I find this is probably my secret ingredients to the biltong making. This adds a little stronger flavour than some Worcestershire sauces. Now, all these ingredients are up to you. You can add whatever you like. We're going to do a chili one as well with a bit of Tabasco, so that's an option to add in. Tabasco is quite good to use because there's a vinegar base anyway, and you can get many types of Tabascos with different flavours. So today we're just going to keep it simple and just go through the vinegar. So very important, the vinegar goes in, and my secret ingredient, the Pick Me Up sauce. So we're throwing that into the mix, and that's 60 mils as well. So I've just made the marinade up, and I'm just going to swish it around like so. And then we start to marinate the meat. When you put it in there, I just get the meat and just massage the flavourings into the meat. Let's put them aside and repeat the process till it's all done. You'll find that as you go through and you've done half of them, then it might start to soak up the meat and the marinades disappear, and there's a little less to work with. Now it's not a bad idea that you leave this marinade to soak for about 2 or 3 hours. So I'm nearly there. You can see they're all pretty even. I've got a nice bit of flavouring on there. What we're going to do from there, guys, is add it to the drying machine. Okay, so we're going to pull in the drying machine, and what we've got here is a Perspex version. And you can make these yourself. It's very simple. There's a light globe at the bottom and a computer fan at the top. These things are available from computer outlets, that sort of stuff. The idea is that the light will dry out the meat and the fan will extract any air out of the unit. Now these machines are available online, but I suggest maybe having a bit of fun and making one yourself. Now I've only got a few pieces left, so we'll space them out. You could start eating this on the second day. I find that a lot of South African customers like it quite raw and red in the middle, but the Aussie market tends to like it around the third or the fourth day. From that, we sit in there like so. And just plug that into your PowerPoint. And that's how to make biltong. Now we come back in 3 days and that'll be nice and dry, ready to eat. Okay, what I've got here, guys, is a piece that I've already prepared. So this has been in the dryer for 4 days. It's quite a dry bit. And this is how I sell it in the paper bag. Do not store biltong in a plastic bag. It will sweat and start to mould. So it's best to just store it if you're going to keep it. You can keep it for probably 1 or 2 days. You can even freeze it, but it comes out a bit soft. So what I've got there is a piece that's dried. Now that's half a piece because I ate the other half. But depending how thick you like them, you might find it easier too to break off a little bit and cut it into smaller pieces. Okay, so that's pretty much it, guys. That's the biltong. Enjoy eating, enjoy making. We'll see you on the next video.